Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. So what energy are you bringing to your manifestation table? Now, what does it mean to get attached, to an outcome, and how do we release it to manifest our goals? Because sometimes what we want in life, when we're going after something that we really want, things happen and we create this really forceful, gripping, grasping energy, and it's not nice. And that comes from ultimately a very large fear within us. Maybe we've had it most of our lives, so we think, it's quite normal. But the work that I do really opens us up to what exactly those thoughts and the energy is that we're creating within us, because we need to have our thoughts, our feelings, and our behavior. And this is that makes up our attitude. We need to have that in line so we can create effectively. So the work that I do helps you to create effectively, and you're not coming from a constant struggle or force. And what I'm going to talk about here is a little bit about that. So, often when we have this desire within us, we go immediately to like this pushing and clinging and grasping and gripping, and I'm going to give you a few examples of what that looks like in my own personal life, very personal today. So how do we go from that energy, which is not very good, to like a peaceful letting go? What does letting go look like? So just a few examples. I don't want to make this video too long. So for instance, I had a long time ago, I went for 2 interviews, and the first one was a job that I absolutely loved. I love the people, I love the offices. It's both for a UX designer role. I love everything about it. The role itself, it was very exciting, and it was like this cool opportunity. So everything went well, the interview went well. I was sure that I had it in the bag, and I fantasized about this new job and how it would give me my new life, And as much as I tried to ignore it, I was overcome by this creeping sense of urgency and how to make this fantasy come true. And then I had another job at the time, around the same time, and that was immediately when I went there, I was like, this isn't for me. It was just like, I didn't feel it. I liked the people, but the whole energy, and I just, you get a sense, like my intuition picked up, like I was just like, no, definitely not for me. Then guess which one I got? I got the one that I didn't want. I got the one that I didn't want. And I was just like, what is going on here? I was so sure I had the one that I loved in the bag. I mean, I fell in love with it. I started making plans, like traveling plans and everything. And so I was really heartbroken, and I wasn't bothered about the other one, and I was offered it. So I was so disheartened. I couldn't understand why. So another example is on my driving test, which was such a long time ago. Now I had about 8 lessons on my driving, so it wasn't very much, considering that I didn't really know how to drive from the beginning. But me and my driving instructor really I made a joke about how I wouldn't pass in a nice way. And but I went ahead anyway, and he said, I think you're ready. But we both secretly knew it wasn't true. And I didn't even do many of the exercises. But anyway, but on the morning of the test, I did like a small, like 10-minute meditation to sort of calm my nerves. Just calm my nerves. And I went into, I remember getting into the car, and it was a gorgeous sunny day. and the driving the test guy, he was really nice, and we had a chat, and I had a really great attitude about it. And I was just like, you know what, if I don't pass, I'll grow and I'll learn and I'll make mistakes, and you know, I'll learn from them. And I just decided to enjoy it, even though but the nerves calmed down, and it was just nice driving and a nice sunny day. So I enjoyed it, but I absolutely passed. And I only did like a turn in the road, which I kind of knew how to do. I didn't do the other, I rarely practiced the other maneuvers. And he had told me to do a turn in the road. That's the one that I knew. So everything was so easy. Everything was fun, and I passed. And this is what I'm saying, like this energy of attitude, you know, there was no attachment to the outcome. There was no, this has to happen. And I passed and I was successful, much to my instructor's disappointment, because he didn't, you know, he wasn't getting paid for the lessons. So anyway, but I was absolutely over the moon, and I didn't see it come in. So I'm telling you this because, you know, I want you to understand how the energy of non-attachment to the outcome affects like your energy. It's so vital that we don't, you know, as soon as we force, you know, we know that force is negates what we want. Another couple of examples, very personal example, this one is when my husband and I tried for a baby for a year and a half. Now, if you don't want to listen to this, just stop the video or just fast forward it on a little bit. But, you know, if this helps somebody, then, you know, this came to my mind, like these ones came to my mind this morning, because if it helps somebody, then move on, then I want to include it in here. So yeah, we were trying for a year and a half, and we were about to go on our honeymoon, and I had some really bad news that affected the whole idea of having a baby. And I was just like, well, that's not going to happen then. And I was heartbroken and let it go and accepted it, you know, that it wasn't going to happen. But a part of me, you know, still hoped it would somehow. But I let it go, and I released the whole like, you know, this has to happen because I'm ready, and it has to happen like this. So the whole, you know, I presumed, you know, it just couldn't happen. But when we flew off in the plane, you know, I cried all the way and released that whole energy. You know, we flew to Dubai, and when we went on safari, and we had a beautiful time, you know, we were really happy, like chilling out with the animals, and we had the best time. And I just forgot about it because I was at peace, you know. I let it go and just resigned myself and accepted that this was how it was. And then we went to Mauritius, very fortunate to do this, to go on these honeymoons. And yeah, and then we got pregnant. I got pregnant, and very fortunate. And it was such a magical thing that I had like this very much a force sort of, like, this has to happen attitude. And then I had some news, and I released it very emotionally. You know, I cried it out for a whole plane journey, and then I was at peace, and I just felt this space, and I just felt more myself, and I had fun, and I enjoyed myself. And then I got pregnant, and like, it's just creating this emotional space within is so vital, just not only for your mental health, but that's how we can create that space within to let something very positive and very constructive in our lives. And it sounds crazy, but think back to a time in your life where you were so relaxed, maybe when you were younger, because, you know, it's when we get older, like things happen and then we think time's running out, so we have to force things to happen because it's on our time. So maybe when you were younger, you know, things seem to flow easier, to seem to, you know, there was no sort of force behind our actions. And you know, another example is when I, before I went into like the personal and professional you know, development side of things, career. So before that I was in like UX design and front end development, and when I was in that sort of career, I was very much, I wanted to leave a certain role, and I was like really sort of pushing myself out there, like what's around, going for certain things, and it just went really quiet. And I spoke to recruiters and they didn't contact me back, and it was very, very annoying. So I do lots of action, but I was getting nothing back. And there was this sort of force behind it. It was very much very frustrated energy, like this, quite aggressive. And it wasn't until I realized that I left that career, and I went, you know, a long time after, I went into like personal and professional development, and I still get the emails now. And it wasn't until I left that you know, that space, that I started getting emails and phone calls. You know, Spotify like contacted me twice wanting to work with me, and I had lots and lots and lots of emails and phone calls and opportunities. They were absolutely coming out of my ears. And this is because I let it go. I released it all and I turned to something else. And this is just giving you an example of how, if we just release our grip, the opportunities can really come in, and it is quite magical. But we've got to trust that. And sometimes, you know, you might have, you know, there's a fear behind that. Oh, I've got it, this has to happen. Well, why? You know, what is that thing that's going to happen that's so big and bad and awful that you have to take this action? So you've got to look at that fear that's driving you, that this thing that you know, controlling the outcome, and you've got to dismantle that fear, because that is a thing that is running your life. You've got to free yourself, you know, from this desperateness, you know, because that blocks our blessings, you know, this neediness, and it sabotages our efforts. It sabotages my efforts. So whether your approach to manifesting goals is practical, or whether it's completely woo-woo, you know, or maybe it's something in between, you know, it's fair to say that most people's struggle with getting attached to outcomes. You know, most people have this, and it's not that we're masochists. You know, we go and torture ourselves because we're awaiting its arrival. It's just that we're human and we're emotional beings, and we might have an easy time to detach ourselves intellectually from how we want things to go, but detaching emotionally is completely different, you know. And it is a different story altogether, but it is so vital that we let go emotionally, to release our grip, you know, to give our goals the freedom that they need to flourish, because they really, really do need the freedom to flourish. We need to create this space. And, you know, you might think like all of you is attached to the outcome, but only a part of you is attached to the outcome. And the truth is that, you know, there's a part of you that needs the job, that needs the loving, like the romantic relationship, that needs the business, the baby to happen. But the truth is, like, there's this, the fear that you want that, but it's the fear of it's the outcome that is driving that big fear. So if we can like drop our clinginess, you know, and not control the outcome and just go with like the ease and the flow, you know, we need to relax. We have to relax to open ourselves up. We have to stay open. And that means just being free, like children, you know, they're just in the moment. They just love what they do. And this is so key. And this is like the effortless way that Neville Goddard talks about. You know, the effortless way is just being, it's just enjoying yourself. And with no attachment to anything. It's loving what you do. And when you love what you do, then there's no work involved. There's no force. You know, you're sort of a spirit in the making. So there's this space made, and like magical things really happen. And so we can, it's like we're window shopping, but we have this space within us. So try not to be aggressive, you know. We just have to relax. And you know, how do we let go of this emotional attachment? So it might sound counterintuitive to ask for more when you're, you know, only concerned with having one thing in your life, but there's a really effective strategies, and it looks like this. You know, if you want a job, this new job, like use your imagination and picture having 3 good offers to choose from. So if you're looking for a romantic partner, you know, imagine having 2 people that are interested in you. And if you want a baby, you know, imagine having a baby and a toddler, or 2 babies to look after. Another one, if you want your dream house, imagine having your dream house and a holiday home. So we need to get our mind creative and not fixed on the problem, because when we're on the problem, that's all we can see. We have to think out the box. Okay, we've got to look at what's around us. We've got our mind start going, you know, be far less fear oriented and more looking for opportunities, because it needs to relax. Our mind needs to relax, and we need the space. And if you're always like, because I used to think I just needed space, you know, in my life, and I just needed to slow down my energy and to not be in that fear, to see that the fear was controlling the outcome, because it needs to relax. And its new task is to make a choice from the abundance, because when we're in the fear, we're never going to have that attitude, that energy lined up. You know, it's always going to be from fear. So what does fear lead us to? More fear, more things to make us fearful, or, you know, we're not going to get the outcome that we want, basically. So once we release our attachment to any outcome, you know, it doesn't mean that we're any less interested in manifesting the goal. It just means that we're less interested in the fear of not achieving it. You know, we've shifted our attention away from fear, because, you know, we need to feel safe. So the problem is with important goals is that waiting for them to manifest can fill us with fear, you know, that triggers our hearts and our minds to close. So we need to feel safe in order for them to open back up again. We need to be compassionate with ourselves, you know, and that approach is vital. We need to look after ourselves and care for ourselves. We need to keep ourselves open, to release our grip on control, you know, and how our goal manifests. So the key is to be really persistent and nurturing, and that's how we release our attachment to our outcome, by making ourselves feel safe enough to release it. So we've got to be clever, and we've got to be gentle with ourselves, and we've got to be persistent, and we've got to know that we are abundant and we're in flow and we're safe and we are not full of fear, and we've got the right energy to manifest what we want. Because we need to release that old fear energy that is driving the wrong energy towards what we want. So it can sound a bit complicated, but all you really need to know is that you've just got to line up, like, make sure the energy of taking action isn't from fear, isn't from lack. You know, if you know that you, if you're in a relationship now with somebody, do you really want to be going and getting a relationship with somebody else? If you're happy in a relationship now, if you're happy in your marriage, you know, remember when you weren't happy and how did that feel? So take those two energies that you feel within. You know, one, maybe once you were grasping, maybe once you were gripping for something, but now you have it. So take that energy that you have now that's like, well, I've already got everything, and then go and apply that to whatever that you want. And then that action will give you the success. The attitude, the thoughts, feelings, and actions, that behavior will give you the success that you need. So I'm going to leave it there, but I just want to assure you that this is what I help people do to change their thoughts, their feelings, and their behavior so it lines up so they're successful in whatever they want to do. And this is to create the perfect energy within us, to feel confident, to know who we are and what we're doing is right, and to know that we don't have to accept outside circumstances, what we call fate. You know, the energy that we create is what stops and starts us. And I think you've seen from the examples that I've given that it really is, it is just all within. It's not to do with what the outside world tells us to do. You know, if we want to go in, sell our house or buy our house or sell our car or do this or do that, it's not the world dictates to us. So we need to manage our expectations. We need to have the better energy, you know, creating that within. And we need to let go of this force, of this excuse me, or resistance, or, you know, gripping. So if you need help with that, and if you have been doing it for some time and still you're confused and it's not quite working for you, then book a call with me and we can find out, like, what is holding you back, what is going on there. So that's all for now, and I will see you in the next video really soon. Bye for now. Bye.